Hello and welcome to Write, Record, Repeat, where we focus on getting decent demos done fast instead of getting lost in the mix. In the last tutorial, I walked through creating templates so that you've got a great starting point to record. One thing I didn't cover was the groups or buses and the effects on those. I thought those things deserve their own tutorial, so this is it. Before using templates, I found that creating the buses for my groups of instruments took quite a lot of time. So having those things set up within the template, again, is just a great time saver. So let's take a look at the buses that I've set up for my template. Every group of instruments, I've got a separate bus. So we've got drums, percussion, we've got bass, we've got guitar. I've separated the guitars out into rhythm, lead and acoustic because I might want to apply slightly different kind of effects to those buses, and also I want to be able to control those groups individually. If I want to bring the acoustics up, I might not want to bring up the rhythm guitars or the lead guitars and so on. I've got a bus for the vocals as well. That covers the lead vocals, the backing vocals, and the male female vocals, the whole thing, that all goes through it. And the other bus that's really important is the actual master bus. So you can put effects on the stereo out, but it makes more sense to have a bus, a master bus that all of the other buses feed into. So let's have a look through how we've set that up. I'll start with the guitars, but this setup applies to all of the tracks in the project. So this first track here, the telly, you can see the output bus goes to guitar rhythm. Okay, so it's really easy to set up these groups or buses. Just literally create the groups and then route the instruments to them. So that's the telly. The same is true with the Strat. That will be going to the rhythm as well. And then obviously you've got the acoustics, which go to the acoustic bus. Okay, so left and right both go in there. And then obviously what that means is that then these buses I can control all of those groups of instruments just with these buses here. So if I want to bring the acoustics up, I've got this one slider to operate. And that's really useful when you've got lots of tracks that make up one group of instruments. So the rhythm guitar, for example, you might have a number of different tracks that kind of are layering up to make the overall sound. And obviously all of those go through the one bus. And the other really important thing about creating the buses means that you can apply an overall effect to all of the tracks going into that bus. And again, that's really important to kind of make the whole thing cohesive. And one of the key things that I want you to do with my template, I want this to sound like a sort of live recording almost. And by that I mean as though it is being performed in the room. And to achieve that, I've got a room reverb that I apply to pretty much all of these tracks in varying degrees, and it just puts them all in the same room. This is the room effect that I've got. So obviously the effects tracks are down here. I think I've only got one effects track, and the others are just literally all on the tracks. Again, I've used my favourite Easy Mix 3, but whatever reverb you prefer. And as you can see, it's literally just a room reverb that I've picked from Easy Mix to apply to this effects track. And if I go back to the guitar track, you can see I've gone -10 through that effects track. But also if you look at any of the others, so if I go for the acoustic bus, you'll see this has got that same reverb on, but slightly lower amount. And same with the vocals. Obviously the vocals have their own reverbs and delays, but again it's that bit of room reverb to put it all in the same room. So I'll see if I can show you. It might be a bit subtle to notice, but I'll do an A/B comparison with that effect on and with it off. So let's just play a bit of the track. When I mute the effects, it kind of everything becomes a lot drier, which you might want that, that if that's the sound you're aiming for, then you might not need to be applying this to all of the tracks. But for what I wanted, as I say, I want these songs to sound like they're in a room. They're sort of almost live and being performed, and that reverb made a big difference, I think. The other benefit of using buses as well makes it really easy to solo a group of tracks. And if you've got multiple tracks that make up the rhythm guitars, if you want to solo those rather than having to go through and individually click, solo on a number of tracks, you can just do that at the group level, which makes life a lot easier. And then the final part to all of this is, as I mentioned, the master bus. So more than likely, once you've applied all your individual effects to the tracks and then any effects to the buses, you are most likely going to want to apply some overall effects to all of the tracks. And this is really where I kind of do my mastering part. So on the master bus, I've got my mastering plugins. Mastering is an art of its own, and this is not going to be professionally mastered, as I've said before. It's just about creating songs quickly. But for my purposes here, I can once again call up Easy Mix, and I've got this Rock Master traditional mastering effect. And again, it does a pretty good job of bringing up the levels. And the thing that I mentioned in the previous video was this analyze track feature of Easy Mix, which works really well over the whole kind of master bus. It'll analyze the frequencies across all of the instruments and then apply a relevant EQ shape and compression to that. I'll play it again now, and I'll enable and disable the master effects so you can see the difference. Now obviously there's a massive volume difference there, but you can really hear the kind of quality of the sound. It sounds really sort of basic, really dry. The drums don't really fill much space, and I think this mastering plugin is actually really good considering how easy it is to use, and I think that's making a massive difference. So let me try to even up the volume here so that I can repeat that example and we can hear it at the same volume. Okay, so I've tried to even up the volume now. I'll run through it again, enabling and disabling the master effects, and hopefully you'll get a better idea of the difference that that's making without the massive volume difference. There it is, those are the buses, and as I said, that used to take me quite a lot of time to set up those buses and get everything wired in. And if you're doing that every time you start a new project, you're going to be losing that valuable songwriting and recording time because you're messing around in your DAW. If this has been useful and you're interested in hearing more of this stuff, then please do like and subscribe. It really helps me know if it's worth continuing with these, and I'll see you next time on Write, Record, Repeat.